Hi, PerspectaWeather.com meteorologist Paul Dorian here on Wednesday, August 5th. Well, in the wake of Tropical Storm Isaias, many people are left without power in the Mid-Atlantic region, the Northeast U.S. This is a map of the current power outages in that part of the country, especially hard hit from the Carolinas all the way up to New England. More than 2 million people are still without power from tropical storms Isaias' effects. Many wind reports of 70 plus miles per hour, especially New York City metro region as an example, 60 plus miles per hour over the Chesapeake Bay and along the coastal part of New Jersey. We had numerous tornadoes reported, maybe at least 20 confirmed. That will be under investigation during the day today across the Delmarva Peninsula, for example. Delaware itself had at least 3 or 4 different confirmed tornadoes. Southeastern Pennsylvania, there was at least one or two. One it looks like happened in Doylestown, Pennsylvania. That's Bucks County, southeastern part of the state. And again, maybe 20 plus confirmed tornadoes already. And there'll be some investigation of the damage today, so that number is likely to go up. As is typically the case with tropical systems, you have most of the tornadic activities along or to the right side, the east side of the storm track, especially in the case where it's racing to the north, as it did yesterday. We also have talked about in recent days how tropical systems tend to accelerate as they get to higher and higher latitudes. This particular system was moving maybe 9-10 miles per hour when it was just off the east coast of Florida, and then yesterday at some point it was as rapid of a movement as 30-35 miles per hour to the north and northeast. And again, tropical systems tend to accelerate as they go into higher and higher latitudes. Probably the most hard-hit region right now in terms of power outages is the state of New Jersey, where almost 1 million people are still without power. And again, this extends all the way from where it made landfall in North Carolina, right in this region right here, to upper part of New England. The system itself is in the southeastern part of Canada currently. Well, in terms of rainfall amounts, especially hard hit just on the west side and along I-95 corridor, from D.C. all the way up to Philadelphia region and New York City. This is just a 6-hour period that ended at noon yesterday, so really doesn't include the entire total over New York City and places north of there. But look at this, in just a 6-hour period in the suburbs of Philadelphia all the way down on the east side of the District of Columbia. Some areas had 6+ inches of rain. Flash flooding was really widespread for several hours, especially across places like southeastern Pennsylvania, especially hard hit Delaware County, Montgomery County, all the way from Chester County to Bucks County, across the Delmarva Peninsula. And again, there were several tornadoes reported as well from the tropical storm as it raced pretty much right along this kind of a path. It moved over the Delmarva Peninsula, maybe near Philadelphia, just to the west of New York City, and it was accelerating as much as up to 35 miles per hour or so midday on Tuesday. So quite an impact. A much quieter weather pattern is setting up for the Mid-Atlantic region, the Northeast U.S. Not without showers and thunderstorms over the next few days, but certainly much less active than it was on Tuesday. Well, before we get to take a look at the weather for the next several days, one of the interesting consequences of the passage of Tropical Storm Isaias was actually a reduction in sea surface temperatures. Look at this region right here in the southwestern Atlantic, right over the Gulf Stream region. This is the exact location of the path of Tropical Storm Isaias over the past few days off the east coast of Florida, and then it moved over some very warm waters, finally making landfall in North Carolina, right in this region right here. Let me clear the map here. We showed the sea surface temperatures in this part of the Atlantic during some video discussions over the past several days. And as you may recall, there was 30 plus degrees right in this region right here, above normal. Those were actual temperatures of 30 degrees or higher Celsius, which was well above normal, but now colder than normal. What we're looking at here are the anomalies. This is all colder than normal sea surface temperatures, and this is not unusual for following the passage of a tropical system. Really, Mother Nature is always trying to balance things out, and the main purpose of tropical cyclones in general for nature is to redistribute the heat from the tropics towards the poles. These tropical cyclones are really heat machines that kind of feed off very, very warm sea surface temperatures and act to redistribute the heat from the tropics all the way up to the poles. And another part of the balancing act is actually with respect to, in particular, the sea surface temperatures. If a tropical system is a slow mover especially, and if it's strong especially, it'll sit on top of a region and cause upwelling. And churning of the water causes colder waters from underneath to rise up to the surface. And indeed, that is what took place right in this region, which last week was above normal in terms of sea surface temperatures. Now, following the passage of Isaias, is actually below normal. So that will be an inhibiting factor for the next several days, at least on a temporary basis here for the next several days. This will be kind of an inhibiting factor against that balancing act of nature. And in fact, there is a tropical wave, we'll look in a second here, out in this region right here. It really has little, if any, chance of intensifying, partly as a result of the cooler than normal sea surface temperatures now tucked in along the Carolina coast and all the way off the east coast of Florida. And here is the location of that tropical wave here. Again, very little, if any, chance of intensifying over the next day or two. It should just disintegrate over the next couple of days, partly as a result of the now cooler than normal sea surface temperatures in this part of the Atlantic Ocean following the passage of Isaias, which, by the way, is raced all the way up into the southeastern part of Canada. Another inhibiting factor for this particular system, in the wake of Isaias, we have pretty much westerly flow of somewhat cooler and drier air off the eastern seaboard in the mid-Atlantic region in the northeast U.S. So the atmospheric conditions are not favorable for intensification, and the sea surface temperatures are not favorable for intensification. So this looks like it'll just wither away over the next 12 to 24 hours or so and disappear. And look at this out here, nothing going on here. Again, it looks like a lull in the action in the Atlantic Basin for the next week, perhaps 10 days or so, and we'll of course closely monitor that over the next few days. Well, let's now take a look at the surface forecast maps from last night's operational run of the GFS at 6Z. Again, a quieter pattern setting up for the mid-Atlantic region, northeast U.S. for the next several days. However, it will not be without showers and thunderstorms, at least scattered showers and thunderstorms. So it looks like decent chance in the mid-Atlantic on Thursday afternoon and evening, and again on Friday for some showers and thunderstorms. But the good news is the weekend looks relatively rain-free. Here we are starting off the day on Wednesday. All this rain up here in the southeastern part of Canada associated with what remains of Tropical Storm Isaias. Again, as tropical systems move to higher and higher latitudes out of the tropics to the mid-latitudes, they tend to accelerate, and this system certainly did so. It was moving only 9-10 miles per hour or so when it was off the east coast of Florida a few days ago. Yesterday it was racing to the northeast at as much as 35 miles per hour or so, and now into the southeastern part of Canada. Well, let's walk forward here, walk through the surface forecast maps. Here we are into tomorrow. Again, there can be some scattered showers and thunderstorms on Thursday and Friday associated with a weak frontal system. Certainly the winds will be nothing like they were on Tuesday, but again, a little bit of a threat for showers and thunderstorms both tomorrow and on Friday. Here we are now, Friday evening. But then watch what happens by the time we get to Saturday. High pressure tends to strengthen over the Great Lakes, and that is likely to produce a pretty decent weekend in the Mid-Atlantic region with comfortably warm temperatures. In fact, over the next several days, temperatures will be fairly comfortable for this time of the year. Highs in the 80s, probably generally the mid to upper 80s, and again, likely a rain-free weekend here in the Mid-Atlantic region. This is now going into Saturday night and Sunday. High pressure sitting right on top of the region. Again, high temperatures maybe mid to upper 80s both Saturday and Sunday, and really it looks like mid 80s for highs, mid to upper 80s maybe for the next few days as well. So the next several days, probably no 90 plus degrees in DC, Philadelphia, and New York City. Quieter weather pattern, and the Atlantic Basin looks relatively quiet for the next week to 10 days or so, and we'll of course monitor that over the next several days. That's it for now. For PerspectaWeather.com, I'm meteorologist Paul Dorian.